everyone, this is your reporter Marjorie Asilo and I'll be tackling about the information number 5. The contents of the report is the tactical marketing process, marketing microenvironment, identifying strength and weakness, marketing macro environment, identifying opportunities and threats. First is the tactical marketing process. Completing the strategic marketing process, the tactical marketing process determines the means or tactics to implement the strategies. So it involves the identification of specific activities, timetables, responsibilities, and budgets, and their implementation. And the objective is to ensure that the strategies are implemented successfully. Next is the marketing strategy. Promotional efforts to allocate its resources across a wide range of platforms and channels to increase its sales and achieve sustainable competitive advantage within its corresponding market. Next is action plans and tactics. In forming the action plan, it describes the specific tasks that will be performed in order to carry out the tactics, implement the strategy, and achieve the goals and objectives. Next is marketing activities. Product, price, place, promotion are the key elements that is involved in planning and marketing a product or service, and they interact significantly with each other. Next is activity timetables. It is a time management tool that consists the list of times at which possible tasks, events, or actions are intended to take place, or of a sequence of events in the chronological order in which such things are intended to take place. Next is monitoring and control. The monitoring is the one collecting and analyzing the data gathered from the project, and controlling uses these findings to make changes. Next is the budget or activity budgets. Provides greater transparency into the budget process. And last is the responsibility and accountability. Responsibility is someone's duty to carry out a task to completion, and accountability is what happens after something has happened. So basically, accountability is concerned with the consequences of someone's actions rather than their initial duty to carry these actions out. For example, for example, a company determines to increase sales by 10% by the end of the calendar year. After a careful consideration, it selects market penetration as its strategy. The current task is to identify the tactics or activities that it should undertake to ensure that the strategy will be successful. The firm may decide to increase selling prices, and it may option to do intensive promotions, or it may invest in heavy product advertising. So once the tactics and activities are identified, they are developed into an action plan. An action plan is a sequential series of marketing activities. It includes timetables for each activity, pinpointed responsibilities and or accountability for each, and the corresponding budgets. Oftentimes, it is necessary to utilize two or more action plans to ensure successful implementation. These are monitored regularly to ensure effectiveness. Second is the marketing microenvironment. The marketing microenvironment includes forces that are internal to the company or those that are relevant to its operation. It is composed of the company itself, its suppliers, market intermediaries, customers, competition, and its various publics. So this considered of so the consideration of this is important as they affect the company's ability to build and maintain sustainable relationship with current prospective customers. First is the company. Marketing may be the lifeblood of an organization, but it cannot exist independently of other organizational functions. These functions include research and development, finance, operations, and human resources. So recognition of the importance of these functions is essential for marketing. Moreover, Marketing cannot function in a vacuum as marketing decisions must always be aligned with the organization's goals and strategies. Second is the suppliers. Suppliers provide raw materials, utilities, labors, capital, and equipment. The availability and prices of these suppliers should be monitored. Effective partnership or relationship management with suppliers is essential. The performance of suppliers can directly impact an organization's ability to continuously satisfy its customers or consumers. Substandard raw materials will negatively affect product quality, and the unstable supply process may hurt profits and affect the organization's ability to provide superior value to customers. Third is the market intermediaries. Intermediaries are channels that link the organization to its customers. Most products are delivered and distributed to customers through intermediaries. In comparison to organizations distributing products by themselves, distribution through intermediaries is more practical and less costly. So the most common intermediaries are distributors, wholesalers, and retailers. Aside from distribution, market intermediaries also help in the promotion of products. Fourth is customers. Customers create the demand for products and services. They can either be customers or end users, businesses, or organizations. Companies must attract and maintain customers through products and services that meet and exceed customer expectations. So example of this is the when I'm a business owner and I'll be supplying another business. That is one of the examples of customers. They are my customers. Fifth is competitions. Competition. The demand for a company's product and services is affected by the nature and intensity of competition. Knowing a competitor is critical to the success of the firm. Monitoring the movements of competitors is essential because competition is not static and is very volatile. That is why competitors may introduce new and or improved product in the market. They may also actively implement price changes and launch advertising and promotional campaigns to create and maintain relative advantage. Companies must be ready and quick to respond to these movements. Sixth is publics. Publics may include any individual or entity with an actual or potential interest in company and its products or services. This includes the shareholders, the community, financial institutions, media, the government, and society. So the shareholders expect a reasonable return on their investment. Consumers advocate groups and the media may build or destroy the reputation of the product or service. Fi- Financial institution can hinder a company's ability to secure funds. The government may pass and implement laws that can either liberalize or restrict a company's actions. An organization's publics can affect the competitiveness of the company and to some extent pose a threat to its survival. Next is identifying strengths and weaknesses. Strengths and weaknesses can either be controllable or uncontrollable. The factors present within the present within the company are within the firm's control. The five other forces are suppliers, market intermediaries, consumers, competition, and the various publics are essentially uncontrollable, although they are within the sphere of the company's influence. For example, a poor or confrontational working relationship between marketing and the other organization's functions can result in delayed, stunned, or even aborted marketing plans. Suppliers that are not treated as essential partners can result in poor material quality, delayed deliveries, and unwarranted price increases. Fourth is the marketing macro environment. All businesses, organizations operate within a particular macro environment. The marketing macro environment includes factors that are external to the organizations. Essentially, these can either be influence nor threats, which the company must avoid. That's why the importance of the macro environment can be compared to the scenario of a commercial flight from Manila to the United Arab Emirates or UAE. For example, pilots request information from the air control tower to determine the route. Weather forecasts are crucial in determining particular areas of turbulence and other weather anomalies. Timely reports are received en route to avoid unwanted delays due to air traffic. Updates from the control tower identify the positions of other aircrafts to prevent collisions. The data on wind speed and direction can be used to take advantage of strong tailwinds to reduce flying time and fuel consumptions. Prior to landing at the UAE airport, the pilot requests for a wind shear report to determine if the wind conditions at the point of destination is conducive for a safe landing. So in business, the macro environment refers to the economic, politico-legal, socio-cultural, demographic, technological, and cultural environments. Although these are many, only the factors that are directly relevant are considered. The factors that indicate some level of uncertainty and may affect the organization. Although depending on the nature of the business, product, or service offering, are evaluated. Next is economic macro environment. An economic macro environment factor may pose a threat to an industry while presenting an opportunity to another. The effect of the foreign exchange rate is different on establishments that have large imported inputs in comparison to firms that rely on purchases driven by the foreign remittance. That's why the economic macro environment represents economic factors that can directly affect an organization. Examples of these are inflation rate, foreign exchange rate, consumer spending shifts, and consumer price index, among others. Economic factors are significant because they indicate the cost of doing business as well as consumer buying power. Next is politico-legal macro environment. The politico-legal macro environment includes both political and legal factors. A highly uncertain political situation such as an impending national election may affect the stability of businesses. A new administration may have different economic and monetary priorities and may favor a divergent legislative agenda. Political unrest may lead to government instability. This will always cause economic and business uncertainty. So, legal factors include laws passed recently as well as legislative bills that could be enacted into law. The effects of this should be in a company's planning agenda. One example is the recently approved legislation increasing tax exemption on the amount of 13th month pay of employees. Republic Act 10653, February 12, 2015. The exempted amount translates into higher consumer spending at the end of 2015. This is highly favorable for retailers. In contrast, the proposed legislation imposing a 10% ad valorem tax on soft drinks and other sweetened beverages may result in the decline or flattening of the demand for carbonated beverage, juices, and similar refreshments. Companies belonging to these industries may consider product development and operational alignment to lessen the effect of the law. Third is the sociocultural macro environment. Each geographical area has a specific culture that indicates how business is conducted. Culture is defined as the beliefs, customs, arts, etc. of a particular society, group, place, on time. Having been colonized by the Spaniards, Americans, and the Japanese, the Filipino sociocultural macro environment is far more challenging to understand than that of its Asian neighbors. The most evident result of Philippine colonial history is colonial mentality. All things being equal, Filipinos tend to prefer products manufactured by certain countries, such as the United States, Japan, and some countries from the European Union over products manufactured locally, or perhaps as a direct result of low wages and relatively high poverty evidence, some Filipino families have to contend with providing for their needs and that of their families on a daily basis. This has led to the necessity of the tingi or piecemeal retailing system, products that are needed on a small amount and on a daily basis, such as detergents, shampoo, mobile phone credits, candies, and the link are sold individually in small packets or sachets. The Filipino traits of instinct closeness between mothers and daughters is exemplified in the very personal concern exhibited by a Filipino mother towards her daughter's aesthetic dilemma in a popular skincare product culture-based television advertisement introduced in 2002. There are few sociocultural traits of Filipino that have been monitored and exploited by companies doing business in the Philippines. Fortunately, the sociocultural macroenvironment is not as unpredictable as the economic and politico-legal macroenvironment. A country's cultural culture are hardly changes over time and may sometimes require several generations to alter substantially. Fourth is the demographic macroenvironment. A company's demographic macroenvironment consists of changes in population characteristics. These include population rate, gender, age, income compensation patterns, civil status, and family size. Population increase rates can be particularly beneficial for mass marketing efforts. So, positive shifts in gender and age composition patterns can be utilized as opportunities for gender and age specific products like sanitary napkins and toys. The growing population with higher income present opportunities for higher price product increased family size can predict a higher demand for minivans and full-size vans and lower demand for studio condominium units. Next is the technological macroenvironment. The macroenvironment is composed of current and impending technological change. This is sometimes the single factors that can cause the rapid acceleration or bring about the untimely demise of products, services, or companies. That's why there are recent examples of this phenomenon. The development of electronic word processing machines and computers with enhanced features have launched Apple, Microsoft, etc. to the top of their industries. At the same time, popular typewriter brands have disappeared from the market. Electronic mail has rendered snail mail, telegrams, and the telefax practically practically obsolete. Digital photography has made photographic films less popular. Social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram have decreased the popularity of traditional media. The multitasking features of smartphones have dethroned the still reliable basic feature phones as devices of choice. The changes in the technological macro environment can be threatening. Properly channeled, they can be opportunity springboards for future successes. And lastly is the natural macro environment. The natural macro environment refers to the natural resources inputs and environmental concerns. Uncontrolled use of infinite nature resources, including fossil fuel and organizational activities, has heightened concern for the sustainability of the rampant denudation of forests. Although legislation is in place, the preservation of the natural environment is a major factor to consider in a company's activities. That's why an analysis of the natural environment must also include calamities, often referred to as act of God. These include floods, earthquakes, tornadoes, landslides, tropical cyclones, volcanic eruptions, and storm surges. Specific geographical areas of the world are particularly susceptible to these calamities, like earthquake-prone countries located in the so-called Ring of Fire. Businesses operating in these areas can expect frequent operational disruptions. On the other hand, opportunities also abound in these localities. There could be a higher demand for flashlights, power generating units, medical survival kits, and other goods needed for frequent emergencies. And next is identifying opportunities and threats. So, after relevant economic, political, legal, sociocultural, demographic, technological, and natural macro-environment factors have been identified and analyzed, the company shall now proceed to identify threats or opportunities among these factors. Although both opportunities and threats are external in Although both opportunities and threats are external in nature and essentially uncontrollable, opportunities are favorable to a company and therefore can be capitalized on, while threats can favorable and require mitigations. For example, a company can take advantage of the increased economic growth in the Visayas by developing the market through the opening of outlets in the region. Through product development, a fruit juices manufacturer can develop a healthy line of beverages to minimize or avoid the potential threat of increased tax on its current product. And that's all for my report. Thank you.